Business is a spiritual game. So there's one thing above all else that I truly believe will be the game changer for you in your business. And it has nothing to do with business strategy or leading others. It has everything to do with leading yourself. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So watch on if that's for you. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kristin Constable, and I am a leadership and business coach to values-driven entrepreneurs, and I support them in activating their inner leader so that they can show up in their full power in both business and life. And one of the conversations that I have over and over again with the wonderful people that I get to work with is around this idea, this mindset, that business really is a spiritual game. So what do I mean about that? Well, I know from my own experience, and I know from working with hundreds of leaders and entrepreneurs, there is nothing like your own business to highlight all of the self-doubt, the negative inner critic, and all of the limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves. So one of the biggest and most important pieces of work you can do in your business is working on leading yourself. And this may seem counterintuitive because most people think that when we get into these leadership roles or we take on being the CEO of our business, we've got to have all of this crazy business acumen and we have to be great people leaders. And all of that can be true, but we can't bypass the foundation that all of that is built on. One of the most important distinctions that I got early on in my leadership career was when I was 23 years old and I got to go to a week-long leadership conference in Mexico with hundreds of leaders from around the world in huge companies, top CEO kind of positions. And I was there and I felt like a fish out of water. I was 23 years old. I was in the restaurant industry running restaurants, and I felt like I didn't have a place in this room. And the cool thing was that over the 8 days that this program was going on, I got so clear on what it really meant to be a leader. And it really changed how I looked at leadership for myself, but then also the philosophy that I have around great leadership and what it takes to be a great leader and run a great business. So I want to share with you the 4 things that I learned in that course and how I've kind of adapted them over the last decade to really work for entrepreneurs in today's world. So the first thing that we talked about in that course was this idea of authenticity. So you've heard it before, is authenticity is kind of the foundation to really connect with others. And so often we believe that we have to build this character, and Danielle Laporte talks about it in a really cool way in her book, The Fire Starter Sessions. And she talks about building your brand isn't about building this ideal character that's outside of yourself. It's around living and connecting to the character that you already are. People can smell bullshit from a mile away. If we pretend to be something that we're not, or to show up in a way that isn't authentic with who we really are, it doesn't land, and we know it. We know it, people like this. So the first thing that I always do with people when we're doing leadership work is getting clear on your values. What is most important to you? And then also getting clear on your strengths. What are the things that energize you? What are the things that you and only you can do? Those 2 things alone will be a game changer in your leadership development journey because they will give you some insight into who you really are, one of the big existential questions of our lives, and it will allow you to start to live into your authentic way of being, looking for where you're out of alignment, but then also where you're in alignment, how you can get into more alignment. So that's the first area, authenticity. The second area that we talked about was this idea of being cause in the matter. So what does this mean? Well, being cause in the matter really to me is around having impact. What is important to you and how can you have impact? It's not only enough to go on this journey of self-actualization, but then what do we actually do about it? And that is where leadership lies, is figuring out who are you, what matters to you, and then actually making something happen that wouldn't have happened otherwise. To me, that's like such a powerful definition of leadership. The third area that we talked about was around being part of something bigger than yourself. Now, this is super important because often when we go on this journey of self-actualization, it can be very me-oriented, very I-oriented. Now, true leadership is around having this ripple effect. So being connected to people, things, causes that are bigger than yourself. And when we talk about business as a spiritual game, this is where the link is if you were to have some real powerful impact in the world, if you were able to create a legacy, this word legacy freaks people out. I don't know why. You don't have to be the next Steve Jobs or Oprah Winfrey to leave a legacy. It's more around what is really important to you and how do you want to have impact or create ripple effects on that, no matter how big or how small. Then the final area that we talked about was probably the most important thing when it comes to leadership. And often people think about this one in terms of leading others, but actually as it is contextualized to leading self, it's even more important. And that is doing what you say you're going to do. So this is obviously really important in building trust with others so you can show up in a way that people can count on you and that you are an integral person. But what I've found is, especially with entrepreneurs, is that we have to be that person for ourselves as well. Showing up in a way that we can count on ourselves to do what we say we're going to do, to be who we say we are and who we actually, and have that live in the world. So those are the 4 areas. The first one, authenticity. The second one being cause in the matter, which means really just having impact. The third one is around being connected or committed to something bigger than yourself. And this is where using your business as a vehicle to create change in the world can really be powerful. And the final one is around doing what you say you're going to do. So just look at those 4 areas for yourself and see which one are you really strong in, where is there still opportunity. And if you need a place to start, I have an amazing values discovery exercise that I'll link below. And that is a great place to start to get connected to what really is important to me. It'll be the gateway to all of those questions that we just uncovered in this video. So thanks so much for watching. I love for you to comment below with the one area that resonates with you the most. And then also, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure to go subscribe before you head out so you can be notified every single week when a new video comes online. Thanks so much for being here. See you next week.